and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated.
We came here today.
Ms. Frank.
We're just trying to make sure that the council understands they're a little bit concerned about growth as far as maybe a feeder road coming through down Heritage Parkway. I love the plans that you all have taken, and I've also seen what I come from a city that has unfunded dreams, and you guys have access money, which is very impressive. So took a little moment there to sit back and just realize I did pick the greater city to live in. But on that note, with the Mitten being the center amount of town, the foot traffic I would think would be something that would be important, the sidewalks and all those things that don't seem to be in the future. I know on Heritage Oaks, we have a lot of people that exercise and walk, and the kid traffic to Meadow Lane, and then the new schools that are also going to be built with PCCA that's going to be building in near Heritage Oaks, or not, what is it called? Sawgrass, thank you. There's going to be more foot traffic and more kids riding. There's going to be a high school. I know now, as I've been a police officer for 30 years, that when you build little roads to little roads, you get congestion, and then these little roads, like Heritage Oaks, become speedways. And nobody stops for the stop sign, and we can't monitor stop signs. It just doesn't happen. Number one complaint is speed in our city, which is Palm Bay. There's really not much we can do about it. But I do think that building a road behind our Botanica Circle, which would lead off from Henry to Heritage Oaks, could probably be better served more as a walkway or a path or a parkway. On the other side of the road, we brought over and, have the fish in the street lights and have it as a walkway, runway, a bicycle way. There is a big problem on sidewalks when there's two people that do meet with a bike. The bikes are not big enough, particularly three-wheelers. And I know the kids, the only saving grace is the majority go that way in the morning and the majority come this way in the morning. That save a lot of time like that. I think $1.5 million in a city that, I grew up here. I was born and raised here. I've watched West Melbourne change from a cow town to what you all become today. Well-managed, well-funded, with a lot of potential growth. I've seen that you took a lot of revenue. I didn't mean to use a steel word, but revenue from Palm Bay, which once again is brilliant. But if you would just consider that most of us in that neighborhood bought in that neighborhood, not to have a thoroughfare, a raceway, or a bypass, mini bypass, but just be able to settle down and bring the money that we could generate into a business along the 20 acres or 18 acres and feed that with some of our economic funds that we have in the access, because it takes a little money to live back there. So we do have a little expendable income that we could probably help the growth. And pretty much that's it. Obviously, I'm against it. But if for some reason that you thought that it would be to the best interest of the masses, that it would be well funded as far as trees, streetlights, sidewalks, fences, because we do live in a gated community. And to have our backside open to public walks and homeless could be a problem also. But I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Steve. Our next speaker is Justin Laver.
Good evening, Justin Lauer, 2205 Botanica, and also a board member at the Preserves and Heritage Oaks community. I'm here this evening representing citizens all across West Melbourne that have a problem with the draft budget that we saw. There's a project listed for $1.5 million, which is the extension of Doherty Drive and Heritage Oaks Boulevard. That project's going to create a speedway through neighborhoods. It's a quiet neighborhood right now. It's going to bring hundreds of cars each day from people on Mitten Road and 192 that want to use it as a bypass. Don't kid yourself. It's going to happen. There's a lot of negative impacts. So you're going to spend 9% of your budget to this project that's going to have negative impacts on our community. It's going to endanger our children. It's going to increase crime. It's going to cause flooding concerns. And you're going to kill hundreds of trees. In terms of safety, 5 or 10 feet of grass isn't going to stop cars that spin out of control. I want to leave that road as Heritage Oaks Boulevard. I don't want to meet back in here with the council and have to rename that road for the kid that gets hit. As far as safety and security and crime goes, all the neighborhoods with more than one entryway have higher crime rates. Right now, there's one entryway out of Heritage Oaks Boulevard, very, very close to a police station. Then we have flooding. We've seen some of the plans in West Melbourne, unfortunately. Just drive by Westbrook after a heavy rain. Who pays for those pumps that are out there? Are those in the city budget for that mistake? Well, let's check that out. And then the other thing that's going to happen is hundreds of trees are going to get chopped down. Even a City of West Melbourne report from 2012 was published that admitted a lot of nice oak trees are going to get cut down. Is it really worth it? We don't think so. That's why we're here tonight. That's why we're watching at home. We want to stop this project. We need everybody to go out to our website at delaydoherty.info to get up-to-the-date information on what's going on with this road and how to stop it. We want to do what's right for West Melbourne, take that $1.5 million and use it for a better cause. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time, and God bless West Melbourne.
Thank you.
We've also got commemorative pens.
Our next speaker is Lanny Kaiser.
Good evening. My name is Lynette Kaiser. I live at 2245 Botanica Circle. And I do have to agree that I am not for the road being added on through Heritage Oaks. I do find it as a safety issue. I love living in West Melbourne. I feel safe in there. There's a lot of families and a lot of children. And I am a school teacher. And I do worry about the kids, especially going through with so much traffic. And any accident can happen to them. As a teacher, many times, especially before school or after school, we hear the sirens. And as a teacher, my heart just drops because I am worried that one of my students or one of my previous students will be one of those children that are hurt or injured. That's all I really have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Lisa Ryder.
Mr. Mayor, City Council, first of all, thank you for your service. I know that the salaries that you get do not in any way compensate the amount of time or effort that you have to put forth to serving our city, so thank you. I'm also joining with this neighborhood because I can share their concern that if that was my backyard or if that had been my neighborhood, I would also be troubled in the fact that I would go from having blue jays from my morning guests to having probably 1,000 cars a day. I looked at the census for last year for that tract of land, the last census that was done, which was 2010, for that tract of land, and there's about 6,000 people that live in that tract, and we already know that there's only one exit out of there. If there were to be a second exit, there's about 2.2 thousand homes, 2.2 thousand homes in there. And so if only 25% of the people began to utilize that new roadway, which 25% is a small number, we heard 10% offered as a possibility, but either way, that's going to be roughly 1,000 cars a day if they go out there theoretically, hopefully coming back. That would be a lot of a different experience for that neighborhood to go from having a preserved type of experience and, again, woods and a canal to having 1,000 cars traversing the road daily. I share that they're concerned for that, and I would really encourage the city to evaluate if that's the best interest. I understand that there are concerns that that would provide a second exit for in the event of an emergency, and I can certainly understand and appreciate that. That is more of a once-in-a-while type of thing or a what-if type of thing, whereas creating this roadway would be a daily, minute-by-minute. Roughly 1 car a minute would be the number if it was 25%. So I share their concern. I know that there's always that tension that we feel between growth as a city where we have these great plans and we want to grow, and then the other side of keeping it what makes us all love it here. So your job is not easy. I thank you for your consideration and your support. God bless you all.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Lisa Steele. Good evening.
Okay, a lot of my points have already been brought up, but I'm just going to reiterate them if that's okay with you. First of all, I want it to be known, I know we've talked about this back in 2012, 2013, this was brought up, and I know during that time our HOA president got up and spoke for the preserve of Heritage Oaks and actually made the statement that the preserve wanted the road. I want to state that that is not the case. We have spoken to different neighbors within the preserve, and I want to say the majority do not want the road. And if need be, we will get a petition to prove that. Okay? He was speaking for himself. He wasn't speaking for the preserve. So I want to make that case. The other thing is, back then, it was discussed that there would be a less costly option of Fell Road. And I don't know what happened with that. It was even, a council member even said that stating having that road going through that would meet the main road, would provide those who want a second exit exactly what they need. So it would meet that in case of an emergency deal. And it would be least costly option. So I don't know, are we still discussing that, or I don't, I want that to be an issue. I want to ask about that. Now again, here's the school children. That's my concern. There are hundreds of school children each day, each morning, riding their bikes, walking. And there are every evening, every afternoon, they're walking home. So we have that, we see that every day. And if you have cars, multiple cars going to and from, there's so much trouble that could happen there. And I would hate the thought of a child getting hurt or die. Anyway, and then we have the low crime rate. Right now we have one exit, one entrance, one exit. And fortunately, we have the police station right there, close to us. Yes, we are fortunate. And so we don't have that if we have two exits. There's a way in and there's another way out for it. So we would like to keep it that way. So that's what I have. And back in 2012, 2011, those of you that were here, and we had this, whatever he was, I'm not sure, but we started out with the $2 million, and then the next month he come up with $3 million that it was going to cost. And then, so I don't know where the change is now. It's 1.5 million. I don't know, was he an engineer or something? He was here talking to us that we were meeting with. Wannabe, was that his name? I think that was his name. Anyway, so I don't know why the difference in cost right now, but it really shocked us when we come to the one meeting and we talked about 2 million, and then all of a sudden he said it was 3 million. So anyway, I don't know the difference in cost that we're talking about now, so I want to bring up that question. So anyway, that's what I have, and definitely, I live at 2215 Botanica Circle, and definitely against it.
Thank you, Lisa. Our next speaker is Michael Moore.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council. I'm Michael Moore. I live at 1618 Maeve over in Eastwood. I've noted their points. I've noticed them. I have to say I'm for the Eastwood extension, or the Heritage Oaks extension. I would think a four-way stop sign at Eastwood and Preserve would help reduce the traffic speed limit 25 miles an hour that's enforced. Would actually reduce a lot of concerns, keep people off the roads. I have a major concern with the one exit out. I know Eastwood right now has 2 exits right now. That one that you're not supposed to use because it's a construction entrance and exit. That goes out to Fell Road. I think that might have answered her question. Eastwood 2, a section of Eastwood 2 right now. That's where the construction traffic is going in and out of Fell Road. With what I've seen, I've seen almost daily every time I go out to the exit of Mint Road, I see a close call. It's not an accident. They don't get reported close calls at Minton and Heritage Oaks in Milwaukee when people are taking left turns. There's people that don't realize that's not a protected left turn. I don't know if y'all have any jurisdiction on being able to put a protected left turn in there. I think if we had a protected left turn at that intersection, maybe having one exit would be okay. But without that protected left turn, I'm afraid somebody's going to get hurt. It's going to shut somebody. If somebody was to unfortunately pass, get killed in an accident right there, it would likely shut down the road where you can't exit for a couple hours. I'm concerned with one exit. And when I moved in, I read the HOA documents. The HOA documents clearly stated that there would be an extension, so that was not a surprise when I heard there was going to be a potential extension. So that's my thoughts. There are people that do or that are for it, and I know they probably weren't going to be out here, so I thought I would come out here on that side of things. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Ms. Frank, do we have any more cards? Okay, that closes the public forum for today. Next, we have the consent agenda. We have 4 items on that for council. Does anybody wish to pull any of those? Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem there. So just trying to help you out with ideas, because there's $1.5 million in that original budget that we really need to reallocate over to a better use, and the better use is for the kids. Let's make this a great project. Let's divert that money over there now while the budget's in draft form. I know Barbara's laughing about it, but we had a phone call, and she told me she wanted to spend money for the kids.
We are $303.5
Okay.
million.
And I've got another $1.5 million so we can finish the project. Plus 1.5 is $5 million.
You can't change your covenants.
Barbara, he has the floor now. Let him finish.
Yeah.
$3.5 million is a lot.
Okay, but plus 1.5 is 5. We'll do the math there. So we're talking about $5 million potentially, as far as that goes. Barbara, we had conversations earlier before the last election. You told me we wouldn't have to worry about the road for 5 years. Now you're saying we have to worry about the road. So you're flip-flopping both sides on the issue here. Okay, no problem. I support the kids personally. I donate scholarships that go to students across the state of Florida that are deserving. I donate money for the regional science fair. It takes place in that Brevard Mall over there. I'm for the kids. You can't look at me and shake your head. That's just not appropriate there as an elected official. So I would like you to take some time while the budget is in draft form and reallocate the money so it goes to the proper space. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Ms. Smith, you are next. You had your light on.